UFC 300 main event will happen in 2024, and I'm thinking about what should be the main event, the co-main event, the co-main event. What is going to headline the card? What are the 5 fights going to be on the pay-per-view portion of UFC 300? And I'm not going to give you like a likely scenario. I was thinking of maybe trying to rationale it with like a Jon Jones, Sergey Pavlovich, as if there's going to be a main event of UFC 300, probably is going to have to be Jon Jones in some portion. But then again, I don't think Jon Jones Sergey would be that big of a fight, to be honest. I'm going to give you guys just a crazy card. This might not happen. Jon might not lose his belt to Stipe Miocic, but I'm going to give you just a crazy sequence of events that'll make UFC 300 the best it could possibly be. Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic is going to happen. It's going to happen. There's no way Stipe is not doing the fight with Jon Jones. It's very much rumored to happen at UFC 295. I don't think this is going to occur with Stipe Miocic winning the belt, knocking out Jon Jones, winning a decision on Jon Jones, submitting Jon Jones. But just for this video, I'd like you guys to imagine right now. I'd like you guys to imagine Stipe goes out there, kind of gets dominated early on by Jon Jones, and comes back like he did with Daniel DC Cormier and knocks out Jon Jones in round 3. I want you guys to just imagine that for a few seconds now. Stipe Miocic reclaims his throne as the best heavyweight on the planet, skyrockets to top 5 on the pound-for-pound rankings, and we do Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic 2, the GOAT versus GOAT rematch as the main event of UFC 300. Again, I don't actually think Stipe wins. I got Jon Jones winning that fight. But that's what I got as the main event. If you're going to make this card as good as you possibly can, you got to have Jon Jones Stipe on it. Maybe they push back even the first fight to UFC 300 to have Jones versus Stipe as the main event of UFC 300 and not even have it as the second fight, but just as the first fight. I don't know, but I'd like to see Stipe knock out Jon Jones. First loss ever for Jon. And then they rematch in the main event of UFC 300. That would be crazy. That would be absolutely insane. And I know the UFC, and there's a lot of casuals that are very high on Israel Adesanya. So we're going to add Israel Adesanya to the card as well. We're going to have Israel Adesanya in the co-main events versus Khamzat Chimaev. Personally, I know some people are saying maybe Jamal Hill versus Israel Adesanya as the main event at UFC in New Zealand at UFC 293. I don't think so. I think they're actually going to find a way to do Robert Whittaker Adesanya or Israel Adesanya versus Dricus du Plessis. So I think Khamzat is going to move up and maybe he fights Marvin Vettori. Maybe he fights Jared Cannonier. Maybe Paulo Costa gets the win at UFC 291. Maybe they do that. Paulo versus Khamzat as his move up to the middleweight division, earning Khamzat Chimaev a title shot, given that at that point, there'd probably be nobody else. Adesanya beats Whittaker in the rematch, beats du Plessis, and he got Israel, the last style bender, Adesanya and Khamzat Chimaev as the co-main event of UFC 300. That's what I got first. Now again, this is like a fantasy scenario. This is if Adesanya is able to win his next fight. If Whittaker wins and Adesanya wins and Khamzat beats Paulo Costa and somehow we can rationale a Khamzat versus Israel Adesanya title fight, that's what I would like to happen as the co-main events. The co-main event, we're going to do another title fight. We're going to do one more title fight. And that is, we're going to do 2 more actually. We're going to do 2 more title fights on this card. And we might do 3. I don't know. I'm feeling a little crazy here today. Okay? We're going to do Jamal Hill taking on Alex Pereira as the third to last fight. Alex Pereira, the #1 contender in the middleweight division, is going to take on Jan Blachowicz at UFC 291. Let's just say Alex Pereira is able to win. Let's just say Pereira is able to win. They do Jamal Hill, Yuri Prochazka at maybe UFC 295 in the co-main event. Jamal Hill wins, Alex Pereira wins. Again, these aren't actually my predictions. I'm just saying if this happens, this would be what I'd like to see happen. And we do Alex Pereira avenging his loss, or his friend's loss, his brother's loss, his coach, his mentor, Glover Teixeira's loss. And we do Jamal Hill, Alex Pereira at UFC 300. So far we got Stipe John Jones rematch in the main event. We got Adesanya Khamzat Chimaev in the co-main event. We got Jamal Hill, Alex Pereira in the third to last fight of the card. And maybe we do Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira as the first fight on the main card, because we're going to have 2 women's MMA title fights to add on this card. And they are going to be good. They are going to be good. We're going to do Zhang Weili versus Rose Namajunas 3. Rose Namajunas doesn't really deserve the title fight. She hasn't fought in a very, very long time. But I think Zhang Weili beats Amanda Lemos at UFC 292. I think they find a way to squeeze in Zhang Weili, Yan Xiaonan at a UFC Fight Night main event, or maybe the co-main event of 296. And I think in time, they'll find a way to do Zhang Weili and Rose Namajunas to show Zhang Weili truly is the best strawweight in the world. Even though she lost to Namajunas twice, she'll come back with a dominant victory here at UFC 300 on Rose Namajunas. And then the last fight I'm going to add for the main card of UFC 300, you know, I already said it's another women's MMA title fight. You already know. It is Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko for the bantamweight belt. Amanda Nunes goes out there, destroys Irene Aldana on that fight card. And then they do Valentina Amanda Nunes. And this is after. I think Valentina beats Alexa Grasso in that rematch. And I think they do the Amanda Nunes Valentina Shevchenko trilogy. The 2 greatest female fighters of all time on the main card as well, making it the most stacked UFC pay-per-view of all time. I'm going to say it one more time. For those of y'all in the back that could not hear, I got Stipe beating Jon Jones in the first fight. This is just hypothetical. And then I got the main event being Jon Jones Stipe Miocic rematch. GOAT versus GOAT rematch. Co-main event, I'm going to have Israel Adesanya Khamzat Chimaev. I mean, you could flip around the co-main event. Maybe you do Amanda Nunes Valentina Shevchenko as the co-main event. Whatever the UFC wants to do. These are just the fights I want on the main card. But I'll put co-main event as Khamzat Chimaev versus Israel Adesanya. We have Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira, so he can avenge Glover Teixeira. We have Zhang Weili Rose Namajunas 3. And we have Amanda Nunes versus Valentina Shevchenko 3. Wow, what a card that would be. That's what I got. Maybe you could switch it around. Maybe put a different title fight on here or something. That's what I want. UFC 300, if that's what we got, I'd be very, very happy. What do y'all think about UFC 300? Put your thoughts down below.